The Art of Culinary Spaces swings into the Eatertainment scene with GolfZon Social, a dynamic concept from golf management company Troon and simulator maker GolfZon. We explore how RealFood Hospitality strategy and design brought this idea to life, crafted a scalable, experience-centric operation blending food, fun, and games. From the ventless kitchen decision to the social forward menu, we uncover what makes GolfZon Social a hole-in-one. Welcome Ed Doyle, president of RealFood, as we dive into this exciting venture revolutionizing how we mix golf, dining, and entertainment. On today's episode, we're here to talk about GolfZon Social in West Nyack, New York. We're here with Ed Doyle, and Ed, to get us started here, can you share the inspiration behind GolfZon Social and how the partnership between Troon and GolfZon came to fruition?
Yeah, absolutely. Wade, I know you know, RealFood became part of the Troon family of brands about 6 years ago. Troon is the world leader in golf management, and GolfZon is the world leader in simulator technology. So those two companies coming together to reinvent the golf entertainment space was a total natural approach to the golf side of that experience. And then RealFood being part of that, bringing our design expertise and our experience design to that environment was just a natural.
Yeah. Now, there's other places out there, obviously, to do simulators as well. So tell the audience a little bit, how does the GolfZon differentiate itself a little bit from other golf-themed venues?
For sure. The Eatertainment space is a big space in the hospitality world, whether you're talking about Chuck E. Cheese or Spin for ping pong or any of the golf simulator or golf. We've got Top Golf. You've got outdoor golf. We call it non-green grass golf in the golf world. It actually makes up more players than play green grass golf now, which is fascinating. So that industry is just going through a huge expansion. So, us coming together to think about the best of the best that are out there already and how to add our spin and our expertise to it was a great process. Obviously, GolfZon brings a whole different level of technology. They have very cool things like a movable swing plate. So when you hit your drive down the middle of the fairway at Augusta and you land on a hillside lie, your tee tips. So you're hitting off a hillside lie. There are multiple surfaces to hit off. So when you land in the rough, the game tells you put your ball down in the rough. So it is a level of realism and technology on that side of it that is very different. Additionally, the technology works on high-speed cameras as opposed to radar. Most of the other simulators work on radar, so very slow to pick up your ball coming off the tee, and they're awful for putting. The high-speed cameras give you a much more realistic putting experience and a far faster response to your drive, so you really feel more immersed in the game. So we've got best-in-class differentiated golf experience, and then I will say as a 40-year chef, many of the other operators leave something to be desired in the food and beverage experience. So we came out of the gate saying, look, we are going to have best-in-class, differentiated food that is going to be something that brings people together beyond golf. Look, because I'm a golfer, I bet you're a golfer too, Wade. You a golfer?
I am. Yeah, oh yeah, yeah.
There's a lot of people that aren't golf. So how do we use this as a way to bring people into golf? Or for people that don't want to come into golf, just have it be a great place to come, and it's your sports bar. It's your place to hang out, meet with your friends. So it's not just about the golf. The food and beverage has got to stand up on its own. The AV has got to stand up on its own. So you go and watch the Super Bowl. All of these things become multiple drivers because we didn't want to be a one-trick pony. Really creating something that was immersive, where a golfer would come with a non-golfer, where people would come and hang out, where they'd play golf and stay. They'd come to eat and maybe play golf. So really trying to figure out a way to capture more people and provide a better solution.
And Ed, what I am a big golfer, a big golf fan as well as a golfer. And you said it very well. And what I love about GolfZon is it does bring in the people. I've got friends that don't play golf that are willing to go to a simulator and hang out and have food and drinks, or go to golf, Top Golf or wherever the putt places now that are out there and everything. And they're a lot of fun, and this though, I think is different from others because it can actually, it is getting to be so realistic with GolfZon technology that I don't know of any other facilities that do the tilting fairways and everything else. So it is one of those where you hope, at least the golf world does, that this kind of leads somebody into maybe going out and playing on real grass would be kind of fun from time to time. I mean, golf is huge right now, and I've played in a lot of simulators. I play a lot of outdoor golf, and honestly, this place is amazing. But I could talk about golf all day long. Honestly, I could. Now, one of the things you guys did here that I thought was very different, and we're seeing it happen with more and more facilities, but went to a completely ventless system for GolfZon Social. How did that impact the overall design, and what was the thought process about the operational and the flexibility that comes along with those operations?
It was not a singular solution. We obviously started out with, okay, you need hamburgers and French fries, right? And then we started thinking about an aggressive growth strategy, a real estate strategy, how going to a fully vented kitchen limits your real estate options, especially when we were starting in Manhattan. How do you go into a space that is going to not need to run a flue up through 30 floors? How are you going to not have to deal with PCUs or all the other complications of that? And then we took our experience in culinary expertise and said, okay, instead of saying what we can't do, let's say what we can do. And, a hamburger has a role on the menu. Are there other ways that we can meet that? Whether it's a slow roasted brisket or Korean barbecue, in a way that you get that juicy, hot, sink your teeth into a beef experience, that is allowing us to move into the ventless space. The other thing the ventless space gives you is a much better level of consistency because you're working with automation. We bring a new cook into that environment, and within a day and a half, they are fully trained to execute all menu items at the highest level, right? So it is literally that set it and forget it, utilizing the smarts of the ovens to make up for some of the gaps that we have on the staffing side. The culinary world, the hospitality world has moved into a place where you've got people who are not necessarily career-minded. They're stopping over in the hospitality space. They're going to be here for a year or 2 years. How do we make them successful? We need to build a system that's going to let our staff be successful, feel rewarded, have a positive feedback loop, and have customers in the dining room that are like, wow, how do you make this flatbread so perfect every time?
Well, let's talk a little bit about that too, because you went with the multi-chamber convection ovens. And obviously that's, according to the article, it's a significant part of the kitchen design. And you said it's set it and forget it almost type thing. So tell us a little bit about how those those convection ovens work operationally, and how do these ovens enhance the efficiency and the consistency for the employees, like you said, that are going to be there you have to train them immediately. Plus, they're probably going to be there for a year, maybe two, and you're constantly sorting through new employees.
So again, everything for this program was set up for the highest level of consistency and to support growth. We wanted to be able to run these facilities without a quote executive chef. So being able to develop the menu and develop the programming and operation model within each of those ovens to deliver that level of consistency was a great place to start. You're using the multi-cook oven combined with a slow cook facility. We use a Winston CBAP oven to do one of our signature items, our slow cooked wings. Our wings come in raw wings, right? So here we are in an environment where we streamlined all the a la carte part of it, but it gave us the ability to take the production side of it and do something truly differentiated. Every other chain out there is taking a box of frozen cooked wings out, throwing it in a fryer. We're taking fresh wings, bringing them in, brining them, slow cooking them for 2 hours, cooling them down, and then blast roasting them at 550 degrees and getting super crispy, healthier, right? So that gives us the option to sell healthier for the wings with all the crunch, all the flavor, and none of the junk in it, right? So there's none of the tripolyphosphates, all that. So it gives us a story to tell. And if you thought about it, you could say, well, we can't fry our wings. We don't fry our wings. We intentionally lean into the fact that we've got a better solution. So the ovens, the multi-compartment ovens, let us in 6 linear feet of counter have 8 different ovens operating simultaneously. The technology is great. The fact that each oven runs on its own compartment. Each oven has an air curtain, so many times you open the door to take the other item out of the oven, you maintain that cook time, you maintain that speed of cooking. You've got impingement air in there, so you're getting great crisping, great browning. we really haven't found much that these ovens can't do. We do tater tots instead of French fries because the tater tots come out better. And tater tots are hot in the marketplace. So, you can really look at this as where like, gee, we can't do this, we can't do that. But if you think about it creatively through the guest experience, the guest doesn't care what happens in the kitchen. They care what's on the plate. It's hot, it's fresh, it's crispy, it's consistent, it's delicious, it's fast. So, our ability to use that technology to get food out of the kitchen at peak periods in under 12 minutes from order to entree, that's a pretty good solution.
That's
We
impressive.
run that kitchen with 2 people.
Wow. So in the first edition you guys did, it said you only had 21,000 square foot to work with, which for some people might sound like a lot, but in the food service industry and all of this, with including simulators and stuff, that's a pretty small footprint actually for an entertainment
Right.
facility.
Well, especially if you think the simulators are a fixed size.
Right.
So we have 18 simulators in that facility. Those simulators are 12 by 14.
Yeah, that takes up significant amount of space. So how did you, walk us through that first time when you're looking at this space going, I'm supposed to feed up to probably 10 people per, that's 180 people in 18 things. And I've got a kitchen the size of a closet, basically. What was your thought process of how to make this happen, knowing you wanted to create good food, fresh food, but also needed to have it done in a fairly quick environment as well?
For sure. A big part of it goes back to the name, GolfZon Social. We wanted to make sure that we're reinforcing the social experience. So to me as a chef, that means shareable items. We thought COVID was going to be the death of the nacho plate and the death of the shared pizza. It was not. So big shareable section of the menu, right? That lets us get food in front of a group in a rapid sequence. This isn't the place to go to get your, 16-ounce ribeye. That's not part of our business model, right? It is shareable appetizers. It's a couple of salads. It's handhelds and flatbreads. So it is casual dining. It is food that you can eat when you're at the table, going to swing in a club, coming back to it. It's not messy, right? We focused on the fact that we don't want sauce running down your golf glove, right? So there's a lot of different things that came to be in this experience because of our experience in the golf space. We know what golfers want. So being able to build on all of these different drivers resulted in this experience that created this amazing efficiency in the kitchen at the same time. And then being smart with menu engineering, buy versus make. We don't make our flatbreads. We use an amazing par-cooked imported Italian flatbread that works great with the oven. So, aligning not just menu, but ingredients and technology lets us get to that place of a great product.
So a really good job of choosing like you said, fresh wings versus pre-cooked, deep fried. Now you've got a par baked crisp that you can use for the flatbreads. So that's perfect as far as being able to make it user friendly for the people working, but also good quality food for the people that are actually matter, which is the user experience, like you said. So you got through the first one. You've done more since then. What did you learn? What were some of the key things you learned from that first one that you've been able to do when you've had more space? Like were there any other options you were able to add on or anything you were able to do more because you ended up with more space?
The first one was Palisades and the Palisades Ball. That had a smaller bar. We learned a lot from that. We needed a bigger bar, right? So we upsized the bar significantly. Again, same principles, how to make it work with 1 bartender and 3 bartenders, focusing heavily on beer with a great draft system with enough offering that it feels substantial. We wanted to make sure that we leaned in enough on the food and beverage programming that it felt serious, right? So, large Titan draft tower that when you walk in, you're like, wow, this is a serious place. Because you walk into some of our competitors, it's like, yeah, we got golf, and yeah, we got a little bit of food and beverage over here. So we wanted to lean in enough on it. We have seen that we had in that second unit, we had a lot of low dining tables. We've gone to more social with more high tops and communal tables. We've really looked at the mechanics of space flow, layout, where people are eating food, how much food gets eaten in the Sims versus before and after. It is understanding what that yield strategy is, right? We have a perishable commodity. We have real estate with or without a person in it. So trying to right size the spaces has been a lot of math. We actually just went through a huge blue sky study to say, how small can we make this thing?
Oh,
Can we
wow.
make the
Okay.
kitchen 40% smaller? Can we make should we make the bar a little smaller? Is 18 sims or 10 sims right? So doing all of the use study, now that we have 3 of them up and running, to be able to look at peak periods. Let's not build a church for Easter Sunday, but to understand what we found was at our very peak periods, we know our guests love this experience so much, they'll wait up to an hour. So we don't need to worry about that Friday, Saturday night as much as we used to. We're actually going to benefit by having those guests not get right into a simulator. They're going to hang out at our bar and have a cocktail before they go to the sim. So we're really looking at potentially coming down almost 40% total square footage, but that is also through, we now have confirmed storage needs. We know what we can do out of a square foot in the kitchen. We've figured out how to shrink our warewashing. All of that has just, they all combine, right?
Yeah. And I don't think I don't think it's just a coincidence, actually, that we're seeing a lot of headlines in the last few weeks, and we're filming here in August of 2024, that Top Golf is struggling all of a sudden. And I don't think that there's a coincidence that you're seeing the boom of the simulator type entertainment centers at the same time booming, because as a golfer myself, I can go to the simulator. I can actually play around a golf with my friends. And whereas at Top Golf, you're kind of just hitting into a driving range. I mean, I know there's games to it, and I enjoy Top Golf. It's not a knock on them, but it's a whole different experience when you go to a simulator type place.
Different user.
So to your point, like, you don't mind waiting because you know you're going to play a more substantive game of golf versus just hitting it into the, the targets in the middle of a range.
For sure.
So,
and I'll also say, part of our study of potentially reducing our footprint is looking at the real estate strategy. Finding, a 9,000 square foot space is a lot easier than finding a 15,000 square foot space. But, part of the challenge for golf, for Top Golf, is the capital costs of a facility. I mean, they're 12-acre sites. I mean, that's got to really drive some density. We want to be able to go into multiple markets, bring this experience to the people that may not be in an MMA. They might be in a secondary, even a C market, where we can go in and make a really interesting real estate play if we don't need to build out 18,000 feet.
So based on your experience now with GolfZon doing 3 of these so far, what advice would you give to other designers that are working on not necessarily golf, but multi-use recreational and hospitality spaces?
Focus on the experience, right? I mean, before we start thinking about, is it a hood, is it not a hood? Let's really make sure you've thought about how the customer is going to be using the place, what experience you're trying to deliver, how you're going to realistically execute that. One thing we've certainly seen, the peaks and valleys of usage in these spaces is a mess. When you're busy, you are busy. When you're not, you're looking at 18,000 square feet with staff standing in it. It's a beautiful Tuesday in August. Everybody's out on a golf course or out with their kids or barbecuing in their backyard.
Yeah.
And, you got to make it so it's super elastic. But most importantly, I think all too often as designers, we just get to designing before we've asked the right questions and brought our expertise to, let's make sure we've really thought through the experience for the guests and the experience for the staff.
Good answer. Good answer. I like that a lot. Is there anything you would have done differently looking back on these first 3? Is there any tweaks now you're making moving forward besides just the scalability? Is there anything else that you're like, well, we should have done this, or I would rather do this moving forward?
Hindsight's awesome. I'm a genius the day after, right?
Yeah, of course.
I think we have had a lot of great pieces coming out of the gate. We jumped right into some spaces. I think making sure you're understanding market dynamics, you're understanding, really what's the right size for this thing.
Right.
And then making sure that when you're creating a new experience for people, you got to make sure you're leaning in and telling them about it, right? So I think we wanted to make sure we got it right. So we kind of soft opened, right? To make sure that we worked all the bugs out of it before we started screaming from the rooftops.
Right.
I'm probably a little bit more of a, let's get in there and start going. But I mean, we've had great success. We came out of the gate, and I think all of us looked at the feedback we were getting. Customers were so generous with their online posts and Google and direct feedback. And it was just, Like, holy cow, this is pretty good. I mean, I've opened enough facilities in my life where you
Yeah.
come out of the gate, you're like, whoo, this feels a little shaky.
Yeah.
So, to come out of the gate with the staff being successful and the staff feeling really good about what they were doing, was super cool to get to that ramp up as quickly as we did. And a lot of that had to do with the technology and the systems we put in place, and really thinking it through.
So based on the success of this and how good GolfZone's been, and Troon is a big player in the management of golf courses, country clubs, and everything else, is any part of that project being put into place as far as incorporating a GolfZone type atmosphere into some of their country clubs? I know the food doesn't match, but the technology and everything else, I'm seeing more and more country clubs bringing in simulators now, especially in the colder climate country clubs. Is there anybody talk about that between Troon and you guys?
We have countless facilities that have put in various levels of technology, whether it is indoor simulators, whether it is hybrid simulators where you have an open bay that when the weather's lousy, they close the bay and you're hit into a net. Whether you've got an open bay with TrackMan in it, so to give you that feedback on your swing and your ball flight. I think a big part of it is, as we've seen the shift in demographics that have happened within the golf and private club environment, is not everybody has 5 hours.
Right.
They want to get out, they want to play, hit a bucket. They want to go play a short game. We've seen a huge resurgence in the development of par threes and executive courses. Much of that has to do with the behavior of the new demographics that are coming in. They want to go out and play 3, 4 holes, 5 holes, be done. They don't want to be out in the middle of the woods. So how are we making it in a way that the club experience or the golf experience or the food and beverage experience are malleable, and you can come in the evening, sunset, go hit balls for a half an hour and then sit down and have a good dinner. So I think it's part of the industry going and meeting an ever-changing customer base, and also creating new ways for golfers to enjoy their facilities. If you look, I'm sitting here in Boston. You got to be a hardy soul to be playing golf in January. So, and I know my first couple of rounds in March and April are awfully shaky because I don't spend enough time hitting balls in the winter. So it's creating more ways for people to engage with their settings.
I'm in Central Illinois, so I have the same thing. You get into the Decembers, the Januaries, and Februaries, where if you're not going to a range somewhere indoors, you're not hitting a golf ball at all. Right. And that first, not only is it still cold in March, by the way, when you're hitting that ball, so you get the sting in your hands and everything else, but you also have to work out all the rust. Well, that's all I've got for you, Dave. And before we let you go, though, how can the public find out more about you and RealFood Hospitality strategy and design?
Thank you for asking that, Wade. RFHSD.com is our website. You can also find out about Troon at Troon.com, GolfZonSocial.com. Love to do anything we can to help people dig through some of their challenges. Perfect. So I really appreciate you taking the time. It's always a great conversation with you.
Thank you for joining us for this edition of the Art of Culinary Spaces. We hope this conversation has sparked your creativity and inspired new ideas within the world of food service design and planning. Make sure to hit that like and subscribe button so you don't miss out on all of our future podcasts. Stay tuned for our next episode when we explore another groundbreaking project and exceptional design from FCSI members that are transforming the culinary landscape.